What is the real cost of living in the Philippines in 2026? That is the question many people want answered before they move here, retire here, or even think about building a new life in the country. And the truth is, there is no single answer. The cost of living in the Philippines depends on where you live, how you live, and what kind of lifestyle you want. In this video, I want to break it down clearly and honestly so you can understand what life actually costs in 2026. Not the fantasy, not the guesswork, the real numbers. The first thing to understand is that the Philippines can be affordable, but it is not automatically cheap for everyone. A person living simply in a provincial area may spend far less than someone living in a major city like Manila or Cebu. That difference matters a lot. Location affects rent, food, transportation, convenience, and even how often you spend money just to get through daily life. If you choose a quieter area and live a simple lifestyle, your money can stretch much further. But if you want a more modern, city-based, or Western-style lifestyle, your monthly costs can rise quickly. That is why so many people get confused when they ask, is the Philippines cheap? The better question is, cheap for what kind of life? Housing is usually one of the biggest expenses. A modest apartment or house may be very affordable compared to the United States, but the price can still vary greatly depending on the area. A place near major business districts, popular beaches, or expat-heavy neighborhoods can cost far more than a simple local home farther away. For many retirees and expats, housing becomes a balancing act between comfort, convenience, and price. If you want air conditioning, better security, modern finishes, and a good location, you will usually pay more. If you are willing to keep things basic, your rent can be much lower. That is one of the biggest realities of living here. Food is another major factor. Local food can be very affordable, especially if you shop smart and eat like the people around you. Fresh vegetables, rice, fish, chicken, and local meals can help keep your budget manageable. But imported food, restaurant dining, and Western groceries can make your spending rise fast. A lot of newcomers are shocked by how quickly the food budget changes once they stop eating local all the time. Even small habits matter. Snacks, drinks, convenience store purchases, and frequent takeout can quietly add up. That is why budgeting is so important in 2026. Transportation also plays a big role. If you live somewhere walkable, use local transport, or rely on short rides, your monthly transportation costs may stay low. But if you want regular private rides, long-distance travel, or car ownership, the expense can become much higher. Traffic, fuel, and convenience all affect your daily spending. In the Philippines, transportation is not just about getting from one place to another. It is also about time, patience, and comfort. Utilities are another expense people often underestimate. Electricity can be a serious cost, especially if you use air conditioning often. Internet, water, phone service, and other basic bills may seem small at first, but together they can make a noticeable difference in your monthly budget. This is one reason why many people say life in the Philippines is affordable but not effortless. You still need to manage your expenses carefully. Healthcare is also part of the real cost of living. Some people move to the Philippines assuming medical expenses will be very low across the board. The truth is more complicated. Basic care may be manageable, but you still need to think ahead about doctor visits, medication, emergency planning, and insurance. The exact cost will depend on your health, location, and the type of care you need. For retirees especially, this is not something to ignore. Healthcare planning should always be part of your cost of living calculation. Now, let us talk about lifestyle. This is where many people misunderstand the Philippines. The country can support a low-cost lifestyle, but your habits matter just as much as your location. If you live simply, avoid too many imported comforts, and stay disciplined, your money can go much further. But if you expect a constant Western lifestyle, with premium services and imported products, your monthly budget will be very different. In other words, the Philippines rewards flexibility. It also rewards simplicity. That is why some people feel they live very comfortably here on a modest budget, while others feel the country is more expensive than they expected. They are not always wrong. They are simply living different lifestyles. Another important point in 2026 is inflation and changing prices. The cost of living is not frozen in time. Prices move. Markets change, rent changes, utilities change, transportation changes. That means anyone planning to move here or retire here needs to think in current terms, not old assumptions. A budget that worked a few years ago may not feel the same today. That is why it is important to keep checking updated costs and real experiences from people living here now. So, what is the real cost of living in the Philippines in 2026? The honest answer is this. It can be very affordable if you live simply and choose your location carefully. It can also become expensive if you want convenience, comfort, and a lifestyle that is too close to what you had back home. The Philippines is not one fixed price. It is a range, and your life here depends on the choices you make. For some people, that range creates freedom. For others, it creates surprises. But either way, understanding the real cost of living is the first step before making any big decision. If you are thinking about moving to the Philippines, retiring here, or living here long-term, do not just ask whether it is cheap. Ask whether it fits your budget, your goals, and your lifestyle. That is the real question. And that is the real cost. Thank you for watching Philippine Reality Check. If you want more honest videos about living in the Philippines, retirement, expat life, and the real numbers behind everyday life, subscribe and stay tuned for the next one.